Welcome, everyone. We are here for Inside the Sermon. And today we've cracked open the notes from a message that was intentionally designed to be unsettling.
Oh, definitely. Challenging and, frankly, a bit explosive.
It really is. We are diving into Pastor Jimmy of Fairlawn Family Church's message, Grace Gone Wild.
And that title, Grace Gone Wild, it just immediately defines the mission here, doesn't it?
It really does.
Pastor Jimmy was so explicit about this. He said the best sermons aren't the ones you just agree or disagree with. They're the ones you have to wrestle with.
And he really set out to ruffle some feathers. He's redefining some, basic theological ideas, which makes this so fascinating to analyze.
Absolutely.
I just love his initial premise. It flips the script on what you expect from religious criticism.
Oh, so.
He says, if you truly want people to get angry, to critique you, to flood your inbox, don't talk about hellfire. Talk about radical grace and unconditional love.
That's what makes people furious. It's so true.
It is.
It really speaks to that human need to, earn your blessing. He lays it out right at the start. Scare tactics, they wear out. Fear-based religion just isn't sustainable.
So what's his foundation then?
Pastor Jimmy just states it plainly. Jesus' love, his grace, his mercy, that's enough. The moment you add anything to Jesus, any rules, any checklist, you're actually taking away from him.
Okay, so let's unpack this intense love he's talking about. Our first section, the fiery nature of intimate love.
Yeah.
He kicks it off with a quote from Mother Teresa.
Right, which you'd think signals something soft, but it's really radical.
It is. She said her life changed when she realized God wasn't just loving her, but was actively, almost aggressively in love with her.
And that kind of intimate, aggressive love, Pastor Jimmy says, is the kind that will move heaven and earth to get to you. It's not passive.
And he uses scripture to define this love not as, sentimental, but as powerful, even violent.
That's the key. He takes us to 1 John 4.18. Perfect love casts out fear. But he focuses on the Greek word for cast out.
And what does it mean?
It's the same word used for casting out demons, or casting your cares on God. It means to throw out violently.
Wait. Violently. Love throws out fear violently.
That's the punch. See, love doesn't politely ask fear to leave the room. It fights for you. It throws fear out with force. It just dramatically reframes the whole relationship.
Especially when you connect it to his next point, the two simultaneous definitions of God. This is where I really started wrestling with it.
I can see why. You have God is love from 1 John, and then you have Hebrews telling us our God is a consuming fire.
So how does he put those together? I mean, love as a consuming fire sounds like judgment, right? Destruction, maybe? How is that unconditional grace?
Well, he argues they aren't separate things. It's not like sometimes God is fire and sometimes he's love. They're happening at the same time.
So God's love is the consuming fire.
Exactly. It has this purifying, intense quality. The fire doesn't destroy you. It destroys the illusions you have about yourself and about God. It burns away the fear.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And it leads him right to his critique of that common analogy, the good cop, bad cop thing.
Oh, yeah, where Jesus is the good cop, protecting us from the bad cop, God the Father.
It's such a common way of seeing it.
It is. And Pastor Jimmy's core correction here really challenges our whole idea of atonement. He argues Jesus didn't come to change the Father's mind about us.
Because the Father's mind was already full of love for us.
Precisely. Jesus came to change our mind about the Father. To get rid of that illusion of separation or, wrath, he uses the Abraham and Isaac story to make the point.
Which is so powerful.
It is. Abraham grew up around pagan gods that did demand child sacrifice. So when God asks, he doesn't question it. But the ram was already waiting, not as a blood payment, but to show Abraham.
That I'm not like those other gods. I don't demand your son's life, I give my son's.
Exactly. It's a total reversal.
Okay, if that's the nature of this fiery love, let's see how this Grace Gone Wild plays out against our ideas of fairness. Section 2, Grace Gone Wild in the stories.
First up is the prodigal son, or as Pastor Jimmy likes to call it, the story of the two brothers.
And the focus is all on the older brother.
Squarely on him. His reaction isn't just annoyance, it's genuine resentment. This huge party is for his degenerate younger brother who wasted everything.
And that older brother, he represents the person who thinks acceptance has to be earned through hard work, following the rules.
It's the ultimate offense to meritocracy.
Totally.
And Pastor Jimmy calls this provocative benevolence. Grace Gone Wild is the father throwing a party for the wrong person and then daring the right person, the older brother, to stop pouting and come inside.
But his anger keeps him outside, even though he was always invited.
He misses the whole party. Which takes us to the next story, and this one raises the stakes. Jonah and Nineveh.
You really have to get the context that Pastor Jimmy stressed here. Nineveh wasn't just another city. They were a brutal enemy of the Jewish people.
I mean, we're talking about horrific atrocities. Flaying people alive, making mounds of Hebrew skulls at the city gates.
So asking Jonah to go preach mercy to them, that's basically a death sentence.
And his reaction is logical. He runs, he gets on a boat to Tarsus, which was, considered the end of the world back then. It's a suicide mission.
When the storm hits, the key insight here from Pastor Jimmy is that being swallowed by the sea monster.
And he's specific. The text doesn't say whale or big fish.
Right. That wasn't punishment. It was provision. It saved him from drowning.
It pointed him back in the right direction. But here's the kicker, and Pastor Jimmy really emphasizes this. While Jonah is in the belly of this creature, he never actually repents.
He doesn't. What does he do?
He just sings some psalms, he goes through the motions of prayer, but never says, "I'm sorry for running away."
That is wild.
It is, and the anticlimax of the story is just fantastic. Jonah goes and preaches what Pastor Jimmy calls the sorriest sermon ever.
What does he say?
It's 5 words in Hebrew, basically. In 40 days, you all are going to die. That's it.
And the whole city repents.
The entire city, the king, the people, even the cows. Apparently there was a pre-existing eclipse and a famine that kind of softened them up, but still, the result is just overwhelming.
And the conclusion is so brutal for Jonah.
It is. Pastor Jimmy says the only person in the whole story who doesn't change is Jonah. He's sitting outside the city under a dead plant, furious that God showed mercy to his enemies.
It's so petty and so human.
That bitterness, that resentment. It leads us straight into section 3, the deep dig on Hades and resentment. And this has the most provocative reinterpretation in the whole sermon.
This is the parable of the rich man and Lazarus.
From Luke, yes. And the setup alone tells you so much. Pastor Jimmy points out this is the only parable where Jesus gives someone a name, Lazarus, the beggar.
But the rich man, the socially prominent one, he remains nameless. The whole social structure is flipped on its head.
It is. And here's the crucial linguistic point that Pastor Jimmy zooms in on. The rich man goes to Hades.
Hades.
And this is the only place where Jesus is talking about what we'd call hell, where he does not use the word Gehenna.
Gehenna being the local dump outside Jerusalem, right? The burning valley.
Exactly. It was a powerful local Jewish metaphor for destruction. So by using Hades, a term from Greek mythology for the realm of the dead, Jesus is using a broader term. He's speaking to both Jews and Gentiles.
So he's not necessarily confirming a specific geographic place of eternal fire.
That's the interpretation. And the rich man's character, even in Hades, it shows you what his problem is. He still has this hard, entitled heart.
What does he do?
He asks Abraham to send Lazarus, the man he ignored every single day, to dip his finger in water and cool his tongue.
So even in torment, he still sees Lazarus as a servant there to meet his needs.
His entitlement is unchanged. And this is where we hit the absolute core of the message, the deep dig.
This is Pastor Jimmy's radical idea. That Hades or hell might not be a geographical place God sends you. It might be a room that you keep furnishing with your own resentment.
That is the defining theological shift right there. Hell is described as sitting outside a party you were always invited to, just consumed with comparison, focused on how others are being blessed.
Even your enemies?
That you completely miss your own invitation. Grace never reached the rich man, not because God withheld it, but because he just kept rejecting it. He was defined by his judgment.
I have to ask, doesn't that interpretation risk undermining the traditional idea of consequence? If Hades is just resentment, what about accountability?
And that's the wrestle, right? Pastor Jimmy's argument forces you to redefine God's judgment. He would say the consequence is the self-inflicted separation. It's the natural result of a persistently hard heart that refuses grace.
That idea of a scoreboard of comparison takes us right into section 4, the jealousy scoreboard.
Pastor Jimmy's final story, the parable of the vineyard workers.
Right. A landowner hires workers all day long. Sunrise, noon, even at 5:00 p.m. And he promises that first group 1 denarii.
And the offense to our sense of fairness is so real when the day ends. Everyone, no matter how many hours they worked, gets the same wage, 1 denarii.
So the morning workers, they are furious, they're irate, they got exactly what they were promised, but they're just full of jealousy.
They are, and the landowner's response, highlighted by Pastor Jimmy, is where he drives it home. He asks them, "Why is your eye evil? Is it because I'm good?"
The evil eye, which means jealousy.
Yeah.
Their anger wasn't because they were treated unfairly.
Not at all. It was because the other workers were treated equally to them even though they didn't earn it.
It's the older brother all over again. It's Jonah.
It's the scoreboard mentality. Pastor Jimmy says that if you're working for God, but you're full of envy, you're keeping score. And his conclusion is just so memorable. Anytime we start keeping score, heaven loses interest of the game.
So to wrap this all up, Pastor Jimmy distills this whole Grace Gone Wild message into 5 key actions.
Right. Number 1, it offends fairness. It doesn't care about our metrics of who deserves what.
2, it rescues enemies, like the
Yeah.
people of Nineveh.
3, it levels the field. You don't have to be good enough or know all the right answers.
4, it invites everyone in. People who don't look, think, or believe like you.
And number 5, my favorite, it throws a party for the wrong people and dares the right people to come in and dance.
As we close out, Pastor Jimmy leaves you with this really challenging self-assessment. He asks you to look inward. Are you Jonah, angry at God's mercy?
Or the rich man clinging to your comfort and furnishing a room with resentment.
Or are you the older brother standing outside a party you were always invited to?
And that leads to the big question he wants you to wrestle with in your own life. Do you celebrate other people's blessings or do you compare them to yours?
He noted that, most of us want other people to be blessed.
But there's always that quiet little caveat, but not more than me.
So if we tie this all the way back to the beginning, to the idea that perfect love violently throws out fear, what familiar, ingrained fear are you carrying right now that you haven't yet violently thrown out in exchange for accepting this Grace Gone Wild?
That's a concept worth mulling over.